So what's good, everybody? Welcome into the Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all of sports betting, and it is not close. What a busy week we have here at the brand. I'm down here calling the Valspar Championship. The show is on the road, and we're ready for the next 32 games today in March Madness. As always, before we look forward, we must look back, and we had a ton of picks. Some people are good, some people not so good. But our man Micah Roberts cleaning up St. Peter's. Damn, St. Peter's doing work. Kentucky, where are you? St. Mary's buried Indiana last night. Of course, North Carolina scoring a whole bunch of points. Chip good there. How about M Squared? Also perfect here on the show. Now, as far as our early edge bracket, here is where we stand right now. Dylan Murray, 14 points. What's not shown there is your boy, just one back at 13, as one of my brackets tells all four Final Fours left. But a lot of brackets were busted. Let's find out if our cappers brackets are still alive. And look at the three. Now, with all due respect to Micah and M Square, we've got a brand new face this morning. So, Mr. Calvin Wetzel, for the first time, welcome to the Early Edge. Please, can you tell the good people at home why you are here?
Well, thank you for having me. First off, I'm really pumped to be with you guys. Big fan of the show. Been working with Her Hoop Stats, doing some women's basketball betting, both college and WNBA. And obviously, this is a huge time for college basketball betting on both sides. Women's first round kicks off today. So I'm going to be dropping some picks in a bit for the women's tournament.
I love it. It is such a hole in the game that the Early Edge of SportsLine we want to fill. So we're stoked to have you a part of the show and a part of our brand as we continue to grow. Now, let's welcome in live two men who were perfect on the show yesterday. First, from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level, M Squared. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everybody. Calvin, nice to have you on the show. Fired up today. Had to wear the Ferrari jacket. F1 returns today. Ferrari was quick in opening practice. It's an exciting morning here for me.
Have you watched Drive to Survive yet? Have you watched the new season?
I haven't finished the new season yet, but yes, we have started it.
Yeah, the same production company that's doing that is down here working on the new PGA Tour documentary. So we got to meet a couple of those guys. They're going to be having cameras all over the place. I may or may not be in it next year. We'll have to wait to see. Now, this man was perfect on the show yesterday. And when you get to March Madness and you want to stare Micah Roberts in the face, you better be very, very careful. You're coming strong. Micah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, and welcome, Calvin. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Maybe you can tell me how the Lady Rebels are going to do. UNLV made the women's tournament. Very excited about that. But Friday's the day. This is the day you go all out. Wherever you're at, sportsbooks, most people don't have to work on Saturdays, so take it up a notch. Bet, have fun responsibly.
All right, here we go. Let's get into storylines that could affect the betting lines. And how about St. Peter's last night? On the money line, if you were betting them, plus 1,600, they hit tied for the fourth largest upset since the tournament expanded to 64 teams back in 1985. But that's last night. Mikey, I'm going to start with you today. We've got some injury updates and kind of get it set for the second day of the tournament.
Yeah, a couple key pieces, starting with the first game of the day. Ohio State healthy for the first time in a while. Kyle Young, Key Johnson, all three of these guys are available. Young had been dealing with some illness and concussion stuff. They're all back. They're all healthy, ready to go. USC, though, however, there's some question marks there. Isaiah White and Dixon Waters, both questionable to play in this game today. And then good news for Illinois, Jacob Grandison is active and going to be available for them today. Definitely needed in a game that many have circled as potentially an upset spot for them.
All right, very good. Great information there. Look forward to the picks as well. Calvin, I got to bring in you next. I need you to do two things for me because this is the first year that the women are also going to have a first four. Very, very cool. A lot of sports books now having women's lines throughout the tournament. Very, very cool. I need you to give me your storyline, but also a YouTube exclusive right here on the Early Edge. Your first pick today starts in 20 minutes. So I need you to give that pick with your storyline to give people enough time to get there and make that play, please.
All right. Well, first off, I just want to give a quick shout out to my squad here. Illinois State, first tournament since 2008. couldn't go on the show without giving them a shout out. But in terms of my storyline, first four, like you said, the very first four on the women's side, we've had it for about a decade on the men's side. We've seen it be a launching pad all the way back to 2011 when VCU made that run from first four to final four. UCLA did it last year, of course. And every year except one, one of the teams in the men's tournament has won at least one more game. So the storyline is, will that be a launching pad in the women's tournament as well? I don't think anyone's going to go to the final four, but we have Dayton tonight. We have Missouri State tomorrow, 11 seeds that could potentially, use that extra game under their belt, shake off the tournament nerves, acclimate to the shooting backdrops to potentially knock off a 6 seed. So will we see the 11 seeds use that as a launching pad? And as far as my pick that gets underway, about 19 minutes here, South Florida plus 1.5, or personally, I like the plus 105 money line. I think the wrong team's favored here. This is on BetMGM. FanDuel does have South Florida favored. So make sure you get it on Caesars or BetMGM. We like South Florida by 2.6 in our model. They beat Stanford earlier in the year. They took UConn to the brink when UConn was healthy. Miami needed a late surge just to get into the tournament. So South Florida, to me, is the better team. If you can get points on them, take them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to realize that. And by the way, that is a YouTube exclusive here to the Early Edge. Nobody else is going to get that pick from Calvin. Now, it's really interesting. There's a lot more good women's teams now than just UConn and everybody else, or South Carolina and everybody else. That's why we brought Calvin into the stable. He's going to educate you, and we're going to entertain you. Now, it's our third storyline today, and this is always something that Micah is on top of, where the Sportsbook fell, or maybe a little, Micah, more appropriate, Sportsbook accounting after day one. Talk to me.
Well, this is more or less forecasting. The beat counters always want to give a forecast month by month, year after year. 11 of the months never come close. You can't predict what's going to happen in the sportsbook world. It's the only department in the casino that bean counters had trouble predicting accurately how much they're going to win each month. So the one that we got right every single year was March. It always held 8 to 10%. And it's because of the greed of the public in this very weekend and next weekend. Instead of taking 1 or 2 team parlays, they take the 4, they take the 8, they take the big giant bomb. And that's how the books win big. So tone it down, take 13-5 on a 2-teamer. Those are good. But the parlays are eventually how the books make millions of dollars. So be careful on those. Don't get too greedy. You got some good picks. Play them separately. Play them straight. 2-team parlays cool, but don't get too far on it.
Are you trying to tell me that when I see a promotion from a big sports book, Micah, that says 18 parlay win 100 grand, I shouldn't do that?
Yeah.
I shouldn't make a living out of doing that? Oh,
no.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Thank you very much for that storyline. All right. Let's get into our plays for the day. And again, a reminder, our schedule for today, just like yesterday, live watch parties at 1 p.m. Eastern time. AB and the boys will be there. Then at 6:30 p.m. Eastern tonight, I will be back hosting throughout the evening. We had a really good time. We go for about an hour and 15 minutes. We look back on our picks. We look at our best bets. And then we kind of, if we're lucky enough, have a live sweat. And we had it last night, as unfortunately Jay Smooth had Gonzaga laying the 22.5 and that dreaded backdoor cover late in the game, only winning by 21. All right, one play from SportsLine today. And if you're not a SportsLine member, what in the world are you doing right now? You can have access to all of our cappers, all of our simulations, all the numbers for one very, very low price of $10 a month. You can't beat that. Today, we're going to go Chattanooga +8 over the Fighting Illini. And this game starts approximately 6:50 p.m. Eastern time. And this play is coming from Chip and Illinois. Even though they got a lot of good players, they're very, very guard heavy. And we've seen that a lot of teams last night, if you are guard heavy, not necessarily UConn, that is a good thing. They do have a big man inside, but we believe Chattanooga can stay within the 8 points. All right. Now, it is time for my cappers. And Calvin, I know this is the first time on the show, so you may not be prepared for this. But when my man M Squared is on the show, this is his spot. And this is how we introduce him. M Squared, you know the drill, son! March Madness style. Oh, 2-0 yesterday. Oh, ready to go today? Give it to me.
All right, Coach. Yeah, we're ready to go, and we're starting with the first game of the day, just like we did yesterday. Ohio State +1.5 is where I grabbed this morning. It has since flipped to -1.5 in some spots. It's still a pick 'em in some spots. I still like it. I would not lay the full 2 points, so grab it now at whatever you can find at that point. I make them close to -3 in the simulations. It is a nice boost having Kyle Young back for sure, but all three of them with Key and Johnson as well. I love that they're healthy for one of the first times in months. These two teams both love to play at a slow, grinded out pace of play. I give the edge to the more athletic team, the bigger team, which is Ohio State, especially the way that they have not called fouls in the tournament so far. I think this sets up as a really nice spot for them. If you watch some of the Early Edge live shows yesterday, also projects as a great opportunity to live bet. They will almost definitely be able to snag +140s on both sides, as we do expect a back and forth game. But much like Michigan yesterday, we expect the better, more talented team, which in my opinion is still Ohio State, to pull away in the second half of this game.
Yeah, I know our fan base, our Early Edge community really ate the 1 p.m. watch party up yesterday because you gave some great advice. Providence was a live bet that you cashed. So if you really like live betting and you want to learn and you're not comfortable with it, you definitely want to tune in today at 1 p.m. Eastern time as Mikey walks you through all the early games that are on tap as they're on the air. All right, Calvin, you've already given me South Florida. Tasty. I like it. But you have another play tonight that doesn't start until 6 p.m. Eastern time. Tell me what it is.
All right, well, not the sexiest pick. I'm going with a 16 seed. It's a 1 versus 16 matchup. Louisville's favored by 34.5 over Albany. Here's why that line's too high. Albany plays the slowest pace in the country, 356 out of 356. And Louisville's outside the top 200. They don't exactly like to push the ball either. You remember UMBC, what they did against Virginia on the men's side. Albany, same conference as UMBC. When UMBC would let the ball roll, let those seconds wind off the clock after makes. That's the underdog strategy, right? And to me, there are not going to be enough possessions in this game for Louisville to pull away and win by mid-30s. I think anything really that you can get in the 30s on this line, even if it drops to 31, 30.5, I think that's still a good line. We have this actually at 24.5 on our simulations. So anything you can get in the 30s is an excellent line. I just think there's not going to be enough possessions for Louisville to pull away like that.
Yeah, Kevin, we talked a lot about it on Early Edge Live last night. When you have these big spreads like this, and we ran into it with Gonzaga, unlike the regular season, this is all about just advancing. And when you get up by 20 or 30 points with less than 5 minutes to go, all the starters come out of the game. That feeds into what you're talking about. If they get up by 30, there's no way the starters are going to be in the game at the end of the game. So I love this play. And by the way, do you know the one place, Calvin, where they don't look at you and say that's not a sexy pick? You know the one place?
Right here.
The pay window is where they don't tell you it's a sexy. Nobody cares what the ticket looks like. They just care that it cashes. All right, now, Micah Roberts. We all know, and we're thinking about the maestro. This is his spot. But I only put people in this spot that I know can handle it, that can put the pressure on their shoulders and walk straight down Broadway. Mike, I know you're my man. What do you got for us today?
I got a story similar with Purdue and Auburn. These two guys dominated. They look like the best teams in college basketball up through the end of January. Now, let's take a look at them now. The spreads today, big favorites here, but the spread's too high. It's like a popularity tax. They're a little higher, like 4.5 higher than they should be. The numbers look like they would if they were in January playing at their absolute peak, and they're not right now. And you just look at the number. The ATS number is the ultimate measure of how a team is doing. And what we see with these two teams, Auburn, their last 10 games, 2-10 against the spread, can't win on the road, have looked, the offenses, I mean, they're stumbling and bumbling, and they know it. Now they got psychological problems. Think they lost to Texas A&M to start the SEC tournament. And then Purdue, kind of the same thing. They're just kind of moseying along. They haven't covered a game in their last 10. I mean, they are really, really pressuring themselves, and they like the under in that game as well, because they were running fast, going over all the time. Same with Auburn, just burying teams. But now they're playing 5 of their last 6 games. They played in the 60s, and they've stayed under the total, and they're not playing to that measure that we saw them in November, December, and January. So I look for both of those teams to be tentative on offense and worried about losing. They saw the games yesterday. They don't want to be that team. So they got a lot of extra thing being the big dog on the block at high seeds, big numbers. I think they struggle a little bit today in their first game.
Yeah, it's funny that you use the word big because I think that's the biggest reason. See what I did there? That Yale is going to slow this thing down to a crawl. Purdue is huge. Their big man inside is what, 7'3", 7'4"? Mm-hmm. You want to eliminate those possessions, just like what Calvin said in his pick. I think it bodes well here for the Purdue game and also Jackson State. I love those three plays.
Oh, by the way, Coach, Jacksonville State, number 2 in the country, shooting 39.9% from three-point land. We're going to see a few of those today.
Drop the mic, says Micah Roberts. All right, great added Chick-fil-A nugget of the day. All right, we are up against it. Show your paper. Grab your paper. Grab your pencil. Lost my brain there for a second. By the way, AB just couldn't help himself. Had to be a part of the morning show, sort of. He's had to play in on USC -1.5 later today. They'll be talking about that on the live stream as well. And the Maestro, he may be not on the shows right now, but certainly not that far away. He's on Davidson today, plus the 1.5. You saw Micah. You saw Calvin's play. Remember, women's basketball for Calvin. Follow him at CWetzel31 for everything women college hoops here for the early edge. And then Mikey, one play so far. But as we mentioned, plenty of live opportunities potentially on early edge live. Now, Jeweler, show your face. The Sicko parlay of the day. Now, I'm here for half of it because DJ is part of my marquee group that I'll be calling this afternoon. Victor Hovland, part of the featured group. Do you think he can do it 2 days in a row, though?
I think he can. And the great part about this, I'll play it individually. You can get DJ plus 120 over Victor Hovland.
That's right.
I think is just too much. I think it's probably closer to even money head-to-head. DJ's been hot, so we're going to take DJ over Hovland. And then you're probably referring to the second leg of the Sicko parlay, which is Virginia Tech versus Texas under 123. Which both of these will just be painful to watch. As Chip loves to say, it's just sicko mode. We're going to feel sick to our stomach having to watch all this. But if you're not having fun, then what are you doing?
I'm scared with this one, though, because I just watched Virginia Tech go north of 80 against North Carolina, against Duke. I know Texas plays slow, but this one scares me just a little bit. Just a little. By the way, if you wanted to play that DJ straight, he said yesterday, post-round, after a 467, that his 63 on Monday was not a good score for him. He said, I didn't play very well. What? 9 under, you didn't play well? That means he's getting ready to get off, which is what Justin Thomas, by the way, is doing right now in my marquee group, 6 under through his first 10 holes. The big boys have come out to play. All right, Calvin, hopefully you enjoyed yourself the first time. Was it everything you thought it would be?
Everything and more. It's been awesome to be on here with you guys.
Atta boy. Well, we're going to have you on quite a bit. We're pleased and honored to have you part now of our family, and it's all about this here at SportsLine. But, Calvin, if you watch the show every single day, we never go off the air without one final thing to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. Calvin for the first time, M Squared, my man Mike, and of course the jeweler, our executive producer, who puts it all together here at the brand. Do not forget, 1 p.m. Eastern this afternoon, 6:30 p.m. Eastern this evening, live early edge watch parties just for you. Best bets, live betting, education, entertainment. We got it all. We grind, and we grind for you. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, right here on the early edge. Good luck.